Hi, and welcome back to CGI Stories 2011. I am joined by Reyes Ferriz, the former mayor of Juarez, and it's a distinct pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for the invitation. I've enjoyed the university. It's such a great job that you're all doing, especially President Clinton. So, thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, it's a great job to do. But I'm curious to know sort of about your experience at CGI, and then to hear a little bit more about your job as mayor and sort of how you see Juarez progressing in the next couple of years. First off, you've been involved, I think, in a plenary session today and also in a working session. How did that go?
It was great. You know, the plenary session, we talked about how the cities are getting more and more population, how more than half of the world population lives in the cities now. And everybody thinks about the environmental problems this causes, of course, the infrastructure problems that this creates. But very few people think about the security problems that created by urban growth. It's important because so many people living together, we need to have definite rules to follow for society to function. And what has happened in Juarez gives us a unique insight as to what needs to be done so that a problem like the one we have right now doesn't come through in other cities. And it was a good opportunity to share that with the other panelists and, of course, everybody attending the university.
So maybe you can tell our audience a little bit more about what is happening in Juarez. What is the current situation?
Well, you know, we're a city that has had so much growth. It's a city that for many, many years has had full employment. In fact, 20 out of the last 30 years, we have had full employment because we have the best logistical position between Mexico and the United States. That's make us very attractive to business. It also makes us very attractive to drug dealers trying to cross drugs into the United States. And there's been a fight between the drug cartels for the control of the city. That fight has had left a lot of people dead between the cartels. Most of them don't even live in Juarez, but they come from where these groups are headquartered to fight over the city. At the same time, we've had the very bad luck of depending on the automobile industry. And as you know, the U.S. automobile industry is not going to the best of times. So we lost a lot of jobs, and we went from full employment to over 20% unemployment in a year. This has affected us tremendously. It has put a lot of strain on the city. Many of the people have left. Over 200,000 persons have left the city for their places of origin, and the city is going through a difficult time.
You mentioned to me just before we started talking here that you were involved in the poverty alleviation working session, and one of your insights was that, you know, economic growth doesn't necessarily mean social growth. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, you know, when you reach full employment and you still have potential for growing, you need to import workers. And in Juarez, we saw ourselves as a place to alleviate the poverty of other places in Mexico. And we started bringing in persons who wanted an opportunity to work, who wanted a decent wage. We started bringing them into Juarez, and we started growing at 8% a year, a very large growth for a city, especially a city that size. In growing, we never thought about anything else beyond economic growth. We thought about building houses for those we were bringing in, building hospitals, building schools, building the industrial parks we needed to grow our city, to grow our jobs. And we never thought what was going to happen to the kids of those parents that both of them had a job and nobody was taking care of the kid. For 20 years we didn't realize the problem we were creating. Now we have a problem. Those kids grew up on the street. They didn't have the values instilled in them that a mother and father need to bring to them. We have, for the most part, lost a good part of that generation because they grew up on the street and got their values on the street. Now we have many of them becoming criminals, killing and doing other things because we didn't take care of the social aspects. And one of the things I shared with those students attending the university was to tell them, don't only focus on creating economic growth,
right.
Focus also on social aspects of growth, because that is an integral part of maintaining the poverty alleviation that you're trying to find.
What an interesting lesson, and one that I think we see in modern economies all over the world, but maybe it's just particularly sort of clear in Juarez.
Yes, it just you just see it, and you have to take care of it, and well, you have to learn from the mistakes we've made.
Yeah. So what do you think is going, I mean, you've left office about 6 months ago. What does the future for Juarez look like?
Well, Juarez is a great city. It has great people. It has a great logistical position. We're ready to pick up and work like we've been working in the past. The unfortunate thing for us is that 55% of the Juarez economy depends on the U.S. automobile industry, and the U.S. automobile industry is going through a terrible slump. So we have lost many jobs in that industry. But once the automobile industry picks up, we're going to start picking up in Juarez, and we'll be ready to be a booming economy like it has been in the past. We still have a security problem. It's a major problem, but the president of Mexico, Felipe Calderon, is addressing it. The governor of the state of Chihuahua, Cesar Duarte, is doing everything he needs to do to resolve the problems that caused this situation. So we know Juarez is going to be there in the future. It's going to be a good, strong economy and a nice place to live.
No easy solutions, and it sounds like it's going to take some time.
It will. It's something that you can't really get an instant solution. We
Right.
wish we could. We wish we could turn the key someplace and change the way things are. It took a long time for what is wrong to happen, and it's going to take some time to fix it. But we know what needs to be fixed. We have the experience we have learned from in Colombia, where the governments in Colombia took them 15 years to solve their problem, but they solved it, and they've been teaching us how to solve it.
Right.
And hopefully it won't take us as long a time to do it. And
Right.
I know at the end of the day we're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, it's actually really remarkable. I traveled to Colombia last year, and just to see the incredible absence of violence there now, and just the spirit of the people is really heartening. So I suppose I'm hopeful that something like that could happen in Juarez and at the border as well.
Yeah, it was a difficult time, and Medellin had more killings per capita than Juarez. They were killing police officers. It was a lot more than they have killed in Juarez, because they're also killing police officers in Juarez. It was a very difficult time. And now, when I went there, I went with public officials, and we walked along the streets of the more difficult neighborhoods, and we did it without bodyguards or anything else. It is safe, and it's because of community involvement. It's because the people got involved and took back what is rightfully theirs, their city, their public areas, and we have to do the same thing in Juarez.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. What a gift it is for all the students to be able to hear from you and to talk to you, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I was very glad to be here.